Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This was a regular council meeting of January 14th, 2026 at 5:02. Approval of the agenda. Do we have any late items? All good? Thank you. Oh,
Nope.
all good? Okay. Recommended that the regular council meeting agenda for January 14th, 2026 be adopted as circulated. Could I have a mover? Bob, seconder Pam. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes. Recommended that the minutes of the regular council meeting held December 10th, 2025 be adopted. Everybody read those minutes? Good. I have a motion to Pam, seconder Malcolm. Thank you. All those in favor? Carried. All right, no in camera. We have no public and statutory hearings. We have no delegations. We'll move on to bylaws and policies. Zoning amendment bylaw number 1113, 2026. Nicole has a presentation for us.
Yes, thank you through the chair. So as Bianca pulls up the slides here.
I'm just gonna pin Siobhan.
So we've seen this one before in November. I'll just go over the proposal again and then talk about the recommendations for tonight. Okay, so this is the property highlighted in teal there on the west side of Riverside Avenue. The OCP is Commercial Waterfront Town Center. And then on the east side of Riverside Avenue, we have Riverside Transitional Area. Both are zoned on property C3 waterfront commercial currently. Okay, so I know this is a busy slide, but the proposal tonight is to go from C3 to MUR2. And in general, parcel coverage, building height, setbacks are in line with each other. I think the biggest difference here is going to be in the MUR2 zone, it allows short-term rentals. And so the developer has been preparing their application in anticipation of that. So at a future council meeting, the plan or this rezoning would support a plan to propose a development permit for 36 residential units on the left-hand side there, so the west side of Riverside Avenue, and then have a marina office, and then on the east side of Riverside and trailer parking. I'll continue. And then that's if the rezoning is successful. A couple of things to talk about in the MUR2 zone. There's two specific general regulations. And so I have those on the slide here. One is about ground floor design. So if you are MUR2, it says that for units facing the street, the major entrance shall face the street, be at grade with adjacent sidewalk and designed to function as a commercial entrance. And then the second one is multi-unit dwellings like this proposal. On Riverside Avenue, multi-unit dwellings must include a minimum of 50 meters squared commercial floor space. So this proposal doesn't have that commercial component to it. And so as part of this zoning bylaw, we're proposing to remove those two conditions entirely from the MUR2 zone. When we did a quick analysis around town with other MUR2 zoned properties, so we have one other on Riverside, 630 Riverside, that's not developed. We are working with that developer as well on a proposal, and they don't have commercial proposed either. If that's something that we want, we can obviously deal with that at that time for that development. But I think every other property that's MUR2 is already developed and doesn't have commercial and isn't on Riverside Avenue. So it's really this property that's left and then 630 Riverside. And so we're proposing that the property would be rezoned to MUR2 and we would take out those two conditions. So we discussed this at the Planning and Development Committee exactly as this has been presented, and the committee recommended that the zoning amendment for the property be approved. A couple things with the recommendations tonight. So in November, we did first and second reading. And because this development is going to be for housing. We're prohibited from having a public hearing, and we knew that. We were going to advertise no public hearing before a public hearing was normally going to be held, but you have to advertise that no public hearing is going to be held before first reading. So now that we've given notice through our new policy for notification and a newspaper ad that's run for 1 week, we've done the appropriate advertising. And so our suggestion on the next slide is that we would first rescind first and second readings of zoning amendment bylaw 1113/2026. And then we would reread first, second, and third. And then that would allow us to propose adoption even this month if supported tonight. And just as a reminder, so the bylaw for tonight is to rezone this property from C3 to MUR2, and then I shouldn't say get rid of, but remove those 2 conditions around the ground floor design and commercial space. Should be it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Nicole. Okay, we have 2 recommendations. I'll read the first recommendation and we'll carry on. We're recommending that the first and second reading of the District of Sycamore zoning amendment bylaw number 1113/2026 be rescinded. Could I have a mover? Bob, seconder, Ian? Okay, any discussion? Colleen, go ahead.
Hi, just clarification. So the developer does not want any commercial space on the ground level. Is that correct? And that's why we're taking this out?
Yeah, through the chair, the current proposal, because a development permit will come to council still, and maybe a variance. And in that development permit application as it stands, there's no commercial proposed. It's the 36 residential units. I would say closer to the water where the marina is, they'll have their own marina office and the strata office. So consider that commercial, maybe not, but that's all that they have proposed. And then on the east side of Riverside is where they have the boat and trailer parking.
That's correct. Okay, you good with that, Colleen?
Yeah, I am. I just thought we had we discussed that with the planned boardwalk on Riverside. We were going to see if there was an opportunity to add some commercial in there as well, rather than just make that all just residential and industrial. So I guess, and you know what, it could just be me just thinking that's the direction we were going to go in. But yeah, no, if that's fine with me.
Okay, thank you, Colleen. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of issues here. One is that in the MUR2 zoning we had a requirement for commercial. So that seemed kind of odd as long as you're, because we didn't have that as a requirement in any other MUR2. So that's what we're taking out of that zoning is that requirement. Doesn't mean that, in the future, most of the stuff along Riverside was zoned commercial. We've changed a few, like certainly with the developments that we've done recently in terms of the mobile home or the trailer park kind of concept that was zoned commercial, and we changed that. But I think the changes make sense to me, right? Commercial Riverside Drive is becoming a little bit fluid in terms of what we originally thought it would be. We thought, the OCP, it was all going to be condos and multi-unit condos. This fits into that, but other parts haven't, right? So council has, in its wisdom, and I think rightfully, made sure that we are getting what fits on each individual lot within, the concept of, a livable community. So yeah, I certainly support it. And I think tweaking our MUR2 and some of the requirements that were in there is important. And then with the new law not allowing public hearing, that's a learning curve too, about how we have to go about doing it. And because before we'd always have public hearings. So yeah, I think this is cleaning it up, and then we can go forward, and hopefully this developer has great success in the community.
Okay, thank you, Ian. Colleen, you still have your hand up? No, okay. Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'll just comment, like, I do recall this in our old OCP, I know Jeff was very adamant, Jeff Malmus was, very adamant about putting commercial, making the developers on Riverside, put commercial on the bottom floor. And it ended up getting into the OCP and it just, you know, at the time, things were good. OCPs are fluid, you know, you can, they need to be changed every once in a while, and myself, I don't see, you know, if you made the developer put, 200 feet of commercial, if the property's 200 feet wide all along Riverside, that development might go away. So it's a win-win situation for the city. We need more density, we need more residents in Sycamoose, and this is one way we'll get more residents. So I support this one for sure. So, okay, so we got a mover, got a second. Anybody else have any questions? Oh, go ahead, Pam.
So doing this wouldn't preclude a commercial development there, so.
Okay.
Don't think it's still, somebody else wants to do another commercial development, they can do one for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Nicole, you're good?
Oh, yeah, just through the chair. So I think maybe Sean, you were gonna clarify too. So we're having the discussion on rescinding first and second.
Yeah.
So I think we still need to vote on that.
Yeah.
Then we'll do, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
So we have a mover, got a seconder, and no more discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, our second recommendation that the District of Sycamoose zoning amendment bylaw 1113/2026 be given first, second, third reading this 14th day of January 2026. A mover, Ian, seconder, Bob. Anybody have any concerns or questions? See none? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nicole. Okay, item B, revenue and anticipation borrowing bylaw number 1114/2026. Bianca.
Yeah, so this is a annual bylaw that we put forward in January of every year, just to allow, if we needed to draw on our line of credit with, we have our line of credit with SASQ, because most of our funds are received at property tax time, which we do not collect until mid-year at the beginning of July. So this is just a requirement that we have this bylaw just in case. I don't see us using it this year, but you never know.
Okay. Thank you, Bianca. Recommended that the District of Sycamoose revenue anticipation borrowing bylaw number 1114/2026 be given first, second, third reading this 14th day of January 2026. May I have a mover? Pam? Seconder? Ian? Discussion? No discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to staff reports. We have Agricultural Land Commission application 106-229-1450 Salsqua Sycamoose Road. Nicole.
Yep, thank you through the chair. I don't have too much to say on this one, except that when anyone applies for a non-farm use to the Agricultural Land Commission, they send the planning department a referral. And so we received this one in December, and the applicant happens to be the District of Sycamoose. And how lucky are we to have the applicant right here who can add some context onto what exactly we're applying for. And for tonight, what we're looking for is a resolution in support of the application to the ALC for this proposal.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, just part of the process with the ALC, just to make sure, all the boxes are checked. The agent we're working with, the permit has been submitted. Didn't think that we needed to do this based on historic documentation and back and forth from the inception of building the plant. That was always the intent. But I just don't want to get to a point where somebody sees that box isn't checked and then we get a delay. So we want to get a resolution in place so that if the LC does need it, it's there.
Wonderful. Thank you, Daryl. Okay. I'll read the recommendation that the District Sycamoose Council authorize submission to Agricultural Land Commission application 106-229 to the Agricultural Land Commission for the property located at 1050 Salsqua Road, Salsqua Sycamoose Road. Okay, can I have a mover? Ian, seconder Pam. Discussion? Anybody have any questions? I guess that's Siobhan.
Yeah, thanks through the chair. I'm just wondering how long these approvals usually take.
Through the chair, I haven't done one personally. I'm being told by the engineering firm that we're working with that we've been given a high priority due to the status of our plant and the urgency to get this work done. So we're hoping that we can see this application, this permit get approved in the next few weeks.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Daryl.
Thanks, Siobhan. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think we had to do an ALC one either. And I guess, are we doing one? Like, so do they require us to do one?
I'm being told that it may not be something that we needed or need to do, but in the case that somebody on that end suggests that we do need it, I want to have it in place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we want to have the application ready to go in case they require
The application has already been submitted.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
And it went in just in the absence of a resolution with it.
Okay.
And we were told that that's okay, but I just want to make sure that we can follow up and have every box checked.
Okay, thanks, Daryl. Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, item B on staff reports is the Sycamoose District Recreational Center Digital Reader Board Replacement. Bianca.
So this report I'm just sharing from CSRD, and it'll be coming to their February meeting. But just to get ahead of it, so they are looking for approval to use $60,000 from the EOF to replace their reader board outside of the arena, the one that always has the different activities coming up on the arena and stuff like that. Looking back at some prior spends on this, we actually applied for our reader board outside of our building through EOF. And I think that was back in 2018. And very similar in price. So it looks like reader boards haven't gone up that much, but just knowing that the rec center brings in a lot of people for tourism and yeah, so we need a resolution whenever monies are spent in the EOF fund, which is administered through the CSRD. So looking for that today.
Okay, thank you, Bianca. Okay, I'll read the recommendation that the district authorize the use of Sycamoose Area E Economic Opportunity Fund in the amount of $60,000 for the replacement of the digital reader board sign at the Sycamoose and District Recreational Center. Can I have a mover? Pam, seconder, Bob? Discussion? Colleen, that's Siobhan, did you have your hand up? Maybe not?
Oh, I was trying to put my hand up to seconder first.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, we've never really had a discussion, I think, strategically about what we want to use EOF funds for. I mean, we kind of have one-off kind of, requests, and I see that we have two here tonight. I have no problem with the request, but I'd like to have us think about what we're going to use economic opportunity funds for a little bit more than just it come up like, hey, we need a reader board, or hey, we need to finance this. Like, we're going to dispense about $110,000 here. And I wonder how this all kind of aligns back to our strategic priorities as well. I'm not saying that things aren't needed, but for us to have a little bit higher level look at what these funds go to and how we're going to implement them for the benefit of the community, I think would be useful for us rather than just do these sort of requests. And I totally get it has to be in conjunction with the CSRD and Area E, which makes sense. But, we're just talking about our wastewater treatment plants. We're talking about a lot of different things that we need in the community that could be helped finance through EOF. So yeah, I support this, but I do think we need to become a little bit more strategic about it in terms of what is our immediate needs and what is the breadth of that need, right? We're talking about our wastewater treatment plant. We know that's extremely significant. And I would put that as absolutely economic development, because without wastewater treatment, we don't really have an economy. So when we're dispersing this sort of money, I do think we're getting to the point of where it's not just for projects such as this. We need to be a little bit more strategic, but in the absence of that, and I do think we should have a process going forward, or some greater look at how much money we have there, how much could we draw on it for some of these critical infrastructure needs. But, you know, in the absence of that, I will support this, but I do think we need to get a little bit more thoughtful on how these funds get used.
Okay, thank you, Ian. I don't see anybody. I kind of agree with Ian. I support this, you know, I support it. One of the things I thought about myself was when I saw this recommendation, I right away, I was looking for like a quote or a budget of some sort. I didn't know if the sign was gonna be bigger, is it just, we're just replacing the sign that's there? Is they kicking in 60 and we're kicking in 60, or I didn't know that. And then I also wondered, we go through the budget process and we have the budget process, and this is almost a budget process thing. Should it be, you know, I mean, I support it and I would raise my hand, but should it be in the budget? Like, when we go through the EOF funding budget and the CSRD budget, should it be in there? So that's, you know, that's what I thought about. And the same goes for the next one too, is I supported 100% the $50,000 ask from for the Ferry Society. But I'm not sure in our first finance meeting, they requested, I think, 7,000 or 7,500. I can't remember. There's some request in there from the ferry service. So is this part of that, or I wasn't 100% sure. So it's just, this is almost budget time stuff. And you could say, yeah, we support it 100%. Oh, by the way, if we don't spend $300,000, we need $300,000 to flush our toilets this summer. I think we might pick the flushing the toilets, right? So it's something that we should almost hang tight while we're in our budget process. But that's my opinion, and I'd like to hear everybody else's opinion too. Okay, go ahead, Pam, next, and then Colleen.
Okay, I was kind of thinking, without asking, I was thinking, okay, are we putting in 60 and they're putting in 60, or, you know, like, I agree that generally speaking, when you make these decisions, you should have the costing out in front of you, sort of the full picture of the financial piece. And so that, I think that's a really valid point for going forward.
Okay, thank you, Pam. And Colleen might be able to help us out because, is that Siobhan? Okay. I was gonna say Colleen might be able to help us out as well because she attends the CSRD meetings, and I know it's coming up on the agenda, but Siobhan, your hand's up first, and then I can't tell, I can't see Colleen's.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead, Siobhan.
Through the chair. Yeah, I thought this was maybe a budget item, just so we see what we end up, like what we're owing the CSRD. And then maybe again, that if Colleen can speak to, are we paying, you know, we pay 2/3 of the arena. So are we paying 2/3 of the sign, or we're buying the whole sign? And how that works. So I thought this maybe fit in with, when we get our CSRD budget and all the, you know, we've got the airport and the SPCA, and we have a lot of different things that we pay the CSRD. And I know this is coming out of a different fund, but that we can just kind of look at it at everything all at once. So I think we need to do it. I think it's a good thing. I just would like to see the whole picture first.
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much, Siobhan. Colleen, you had your hand up too?
Yeah, I'll speak a little bit to this, and then Bianca can probably clarify. All of the EOF funds go into the CSRD, which are used for Area E and Sycamoose. So we have to request to the CSRD where we want to use these funds. So Rona has applied for some, and they've gone through, and we do as well. But I'm not sure that we manage this budget. I know there are funds that are added to it that go to the CSRD, but historically, and Bianca, you can correct me if I'm wrong, have we managed this budget, or is it part of our responsibility? Is it part of our responsibility to go to the CSRD and say, hey, we want to get a better reading on this? Like, Bianca, you can probably answer that a little bit better than I can.
Yeah.
Thanks, Colleen. Go ahead, Bianca.
So through the chair, yeah, so there isn't, you can technically apply for EOF anytime throughout the year. If it's like after financial plan, then what the CSRD will do was when they do, they'll do a financial plan amendment. So to build it into their bylaw, but really requests can come in anytime throughout the year. So these amounts will be built into the 2026 financial plan, but these requests can come in whenever.
Right.
Really whenever, because it's an open pool specific to Area E and to Sycamoose. And then also just to answer, just who's asking for what, the total cost of this reader board, to my understanding, is 60,000, 100% coming through the EOF. So then it doesn't have to touch the arena reserve. Because like, it's very defined that it has to be towards economic development. So it kind of, yeah, so it doesn't have to touch our reserves.
Okay, thanks, Bianca. Bob?
Yeah, thank you. And it's because the existing infrastructure has failed. So these signs have a lifespan and it's reached the end of it. So that's it's not like we're not replacing it with, like, we're not doing this just, it's not being done just for the sake of it being done. It's a pain in the butt, but I figured that 60,000 was the whole cost, because we've looked into signs too. So it's a lot of moolah.
Okay, go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like, I've never seen anything that comes to council that isn't worthy. My only concern is, I guess I don't know how much is left in our EOF fund. And then the other point, and I'm probably gonna harp on it a lot, because we're going into budget time where we're looking at really hefty increases on water and sewer. We know we have some really big capital expenditures coming that, you know, on the sewage side, that, you know, we're gonna get a better idea of, but we know it's gonna be significant. And I'm just trying to think, as we go forward, how are we gonna blunt some of the impacts to the taxpayers on that? And when I start looking at economic opportunity funds, I'm like, whoa, well, that's a potential area where we could blunt it. But if we use it for other priorities, then obviously those funds are gone and depleted. That's why I was talking about just being a little bit more strategic on what do we actually need these funds for, especially in the backdrop of us having some pretty big ticket items coming up, and we all know that, right? So yeah, is that what we have left, Bianca? So is it 500,000?
Yeah.
So, okay, and we're gonna spend 110,000. And then is it normally that we would be splitting these funds fairly equally, or are we doing it based on kind of percentage of populations?
At this point, looking at past requests, most of them have been coming from just us directly. There was one, which is kind of an ongoing operation one for, so we had the rail trail development funding back in 2021. Then there's the Malaqua Community Learning, and then we received, I think 250,000 for our pump track.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's just my point, is that we have some big expenditures, and this is a fund that is available to us. And I think we should be thinking about how we are using it. And I get these are one-off kind of things, but with the backdrop of what we know already in terms of our expenditures coming around the sewage treatment plant, all I'm saying is it should be part of a bigger conversation. Because we spent 110,000 there. If we needed to put it towards sewage or something to blunt the impact for our taxpayers, then we wouldn't have that. That's all, really.
Could I make a recommendation? You guys kind of mull it over. Both of these asks are really financial, and we're still not I mean, the Ferry Society doesn't need the money right away. They need to know where they're going, but I mean, I think everybody supports it 100%. Everybody, I think at the table supports it 100%, but leave these two to the finance meetings, and we could ask the CSRD for a little more information on on a quote? Like, are they gonna provide 3 quotes or just 1 quote? Or are they gonna replace the exact same sign with the same one? Or are they gonna put in a whole new thing?
So through the chair, I believe they've already received quotes. They've quoted it. Like this was on, I'm pretty sure Justin like put it on at least mine and Jamie and like a few of our radar back in like October that like, hey, this is coming up. And we're looking for something. I was actually one of the ones that suggested EOF because that's where like digital signs have kind of gone under, just, yeah, so it doesn't hit tech. At the end of the day, yes. Could something else pull from EOF? Yes. But if you gotta replace something and you have EOF, I can't see a grant from elsewhere without just like taking it from reserve. That's kind of like where I'm at for this spend. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Bianca. Shauna?
I just wanted to, we have a recommendation on the table, so we'll have to go through the vote on that recommendation. And if it's
Okay, just,
voting it down and then moving forward.
hey, anybody else have any? Oh, Siobhan, you're up there now? Go ahead.
Hey, thanks through the chair. I just think maybe we should, I guess moving forward, it would be good to have more information when these come to the table. I kind of feel like we're all going to vote yes for the sign anyways. And if they've got their quotes and we need it because the other one isn't working, that do we just vote and carry on? That's just me.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, any other questions, comments? Go ahead, Ian.
I wonder if I can make an amendment to the recommendation. I'm just gonna kind of tack on what I've been saying is that we take a look at EOF as a broader way. I think these obviously seem to be well on their way in terms of, baked in terms of what they're expecting. So it's kind of unfair to do that now, but I'd like to just add that council take a look at, maybe be it resolved that council take a look at available EOF funds and direct it towards critical infrastructure needs, I think, going forward.
Separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we maybe take a look at the recommendation that's currently in front of us and then do that as a separate recommendation?
Sure. We could just add it on and then say, well, I understand. Yeah, some people might not like that. I understand what you're saying.
Let's vote on it. Let's vote on it, and then, if it's defeated, then we can
Oh, no, I'm gonna.
do the,
Yeah.
do it.
Okay, so yeah, that's fair with me. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Mayor Anderson?
Okay, so we're voting on what's on the table right now, right? And Ian, I agree with you. I think if we want to dig a little bit deeper, maybe what we can do is just instruct staff to give us a picture of EOF, where it comes from and what we can do with it and what it's intended for. And we can just get more information on the EOF, but just as a separate topic as opposed to changing this one.
Thanks, Colleen. Appreciate it. Okay, we're gonna
Vote on this and then I'll.
vote on this. Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Yeah.
Carried. Okay. Now,
Brilliant.
go ahead, Ian.
Now I'd like to make.
Yeah.
Kind of the motion is that, and I guess I'll word it this way, I guess, in terms of going forward with our economic opportunity fund, is that we use it for critical infrastructure upgrades. I can broaden it out a little bit and have us, examine it a little bit more, but I'm just looking at our critical infrastructure coming up, and I think that drives our economy first and foremost. Without critical infrastructure, we're really damaging our own economy. So I'm thinking, now that we know that we have big expenditures coming, I don't think there's any question on that we should be using whatever funds we have to help blunt the impact to taxpayers. And I think part of that is EOF funds.
Okay, I'll go to Bianca first and then I'll, go ahead, Bianca.
Yeah, because I'm just not sure if it'll fit the criteria of EOF. I think there's an argument for it, like our sewage treatment plant and everything, because we do need the approval of Area E and just I'm not, like, I recommend that maybe like we get, maybe a presentation done on EOF, the criteria we have to follow, and get a good understanding there, because at the end of the day, like, we can put forward asks, but they have to get approved on the other end, and I just want to make sure we really nail down the criteria.
Okay, thanks, Bianca. And I do, we have a motion on the floor and we'll ask for a seconder and then we can discuss it. But I do know there's a criteria and it is for economic development and it has some other little parameters in there. So it might be another discussion, at the next committee of the whole meeting or whatever. But I do agree. It does have some particulars in it because I did apply for it for the snowmobile club and we were able to build a cabin up at Eagle Pass with it before, but it had to be economic development. So, yeah, so we have a motion. You want to carry on with that, Ian?
Yeah, I do, and I'll just try to word it here. And I'm coming up with this motion based on what it actually says here. The EOF are designed to stimulate economic generators, transportation facilities, and infrastructure development supportable jointly, and participating members involved and approved by the board. So I would say you don't have economic development unless you have infrastructure. So that's kind of my motion, is that we use it towards critical or councils, and we can word it this way: council's desire, and so it can be loose. We always have to negotiate. We obviously have to have their approval, but this council's desire is to use EOF funds to support our critical infrastructure going forward. That would be my motion.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a seconder. Bob? Okay, now discussion. Bob?
Yeah, Councillor Bailey, the way that you first the motion was that we would investigate. And I kind of thought that was more appropriate because we'd like to investigate. I'm trying to figure out how to word it as a friendly amendment. We would investigate because what you were saying was like, there's certain criteria. And so should we investigate how to use EOF fund in the future, knowing that we've got critical infrastructure that, and I'm not making very much sense tonight. I should have had some coffee, but that's kind of like how I would see it being worded, so that we don't also pigeonhole ourselves to only be able to use it for that stuff.
I did use the word desire, but I'm happy to take that out. And because desire can be like, it's aspirational, but investigate, I'm fine to replace that, if that makes you more.
Bianca?
So I think that friendly amendment, like from what I'm understanding, will make sense, because I just don't want to pigeonhole us. Like, I know that
Fair enough.
we are going to get another application for mountain bike park.
Right.
Through EOF. So I don't want to pigeonhole us that that's not critical infrastructure. You know what I mean? So yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, investigate. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Malcolm, you had your hand up?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna vote in favor of this because the Economic Opportunity Fund was created when we had a lot of workers living in Sycamoose working on Revelstoke Dam. And when they all pulled out and the dam was complete, there was a gap there. And so this has come from BC Hydro to fill that gap. And I think it's not for critical infrastructure. I mean, you could argue that any critical infrastructure somehow relates back to tourism and therefore economic impact. But I think it has to be a more direct economical impact. So I probably won't vote for this one.
Okay, thanks, Malcolm. Siobhan, go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair, I like the idea of the investigation on this. I'm not quite sure that we should limit it just to critical infrastructure. And especially when we share this with Area E and we do need their approval to go anywhere and with this. And we need to, like, what they have for critical infrastructure is very different than what we have for critical infrastructure. So, then is that going to cause a problem when we're looking at what everybody gets out of this fund and how we vote for it? And will we be able to keep using the fund if we just say that? I think Ian is very correct on, we need to be very, very cognizant about our big bills coming up. I think, I can't remember who it was. I want to say Field, but it's not. They just went up 17% is what their tax increase is right now because of their sewer. It's not Field. I can't remember. Invermere maybe. But yeah, we need to be very, very, very cognizant about our water and about our sewer. But I think council can do that without putting ourselves in a space where we're forced to only use this for certain things.
Okay, thank you, Siobhan. Mayor Anderson? Oh, we can't hear you.
You have to unmute yourself.
And you have to unmute.
Yeah, no, I couldn't get the little
There you go.
bar down to unmute myself. Yeah, Ian, I think what you're saying makes sense, but I won't support this either. I just want us to get criteria and the guidelines, and Siobhan and Malcolm have both touched on this. This EOF was BC Hydro Fund, and it was pretty specific. So I'm not going to, but I would, I'd be open to directing staff to getting having more information on this and the criteria, and just us having a bigger discussion about it. But I don't want to pigeonhole ourselves either. And I don't want to make a motion without including Area E in this. This isn't just ours, it's Area E's as well. So I don't want to be stepping on any toes either.
Okay, thanks, Colleen. Yeah, I'd just like to add that I don't think we would be here talking about this if it was actually in a in a finance meeting. Because we get to the finance meeting and we get to crunching the numbers and we figure out where our tax increase is gonna be. And we could, if it's critical, we could ask Rona if she would help, or she would approve it, right? Because you have to have Rona's approval as well. So if we didn't have these come to us, just especially during, January, February, March, when we're in our budget process, this should actually, the EOF fund should be actually one of the last things we discuss in our budgets, kind of thing, with the CSRD. And I think we could solve all this by keeping it in the budget and not one-offs unless it's outside the budget process. Does that make sense? Go ahead, Shauna.
Well, I was just gonna say, I need a little bit of clarification if we actually have a motion on the table, an amendment to that motion, or are we going towards that we have staff bring forward a review of the EOF fund and the criteria involved with it, and look at a recommended process for the use of it. So I just need a bit of clarification.
So,
Okay, go ahead, Ian.
yeah, I feel like the motion that we have on there allows all that, because it's used to investigate, all right? And that can come back in a form of report. That's all we're doing. I don't feel like it's pigeonholing us at all. It doesn't constrict our hands at all. When it comes to this, what I guess I'm trying to highlight is our need to get our heads wrapped around this, and wrapped around the sense that there's bills coming and that we're not necessarily totally prepared for the magnitude of those bills in terms of our own fiscal ability to absorb them, right? And so to take a look at this is prudent. That's it. And the word investigate, I think, gives a large amount of latitude in terms of how council wants to go forward. But I would and that I think includes staff coming back.
Okay.
So in terms of investigating, staff can come back saying, this is what we found. This is where EOF funds have been used in the past. And if it doesn't include critical infrastructure, then that'll be a very short conversation.
Okay, thanks, Ian. Go ahead, Bob.
So being that I had to write it down so that, the council directs staff to review the criteria restrictions and allowable uses of the EOF. Report back on whether EOF funding can be used in whole or in part to support critical infrastructure.
If that's more amenable to everyone, I am absolutely fine with that. I'm just saying, we just need to have a bigger conversation on it.
And then nobody's pigeonholed.
Yeah, I don't think that pigeonholes us. Yeah. That friendly amendment?
There's not a friendly amendment.
Yeah, friendly, some friendly minutes. Do I have a seconder for that? Pam?
Yeah.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. So much for getting out of here.
That was good.
Go ahead, Bob.
I think somebody wanted to know that they're not, they're not
You have to ask for
Any
opposed.
in favor.
Opposed.
You're Malcolm, you're opposed? Sorry, I thought you were in favor. Okay.
No, I
Malcolm's
waited.
opposed.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Councilor
I'm
Bushnell.
I'm opposed as well.
Okay.
There you go.
Thanks, Colleen. Thanks,
Thank you.
Malcolm. Okay, that is carried.
Carried
So
with
you'll-
Malcolm and Colleen opposing.
Okay. All right, moving right along. Item C, Sycamoose Ferry Society Economic Opportunity Fund support. Bianca,
Yeah.
here we go again.
It's fine. I think most people kind of knew this one was coming. So this is a request for $50,000 for EOF in support of the Ferry Society in anticipation of their 2026 season, their second season, getting cyclists and walkers over to the rail trail. They're hoping to start earlier in the season, shooting more in potentially end of April, beginning of May, to get it over, as they're already getting requests in from groups wanting to come to town and access the trail, which is fantastic, and looking at a little bit of expanded hours compared to last year. And yeah, if there's any questions, I can try to answer them. There's all of our ferry board is quite busy, but I think we may even have Carly that might be able to answer some questions too, but
Okay,
questions.
thanks, Bianca. I'll read the recommendation first. Recommendation that the district authorize the use of the Sycamoose and Area E Economic Opportunity Fund in the amount of $50,000 for the Sycamoose Ferry Society. Can I have a mover? Bob? Seconder, Ian? Discussion. Ian?
Yeah, I think this is obviously something that has taken off last year in terms of the community support, and they had a really good fundraiser. And yeah, it's great. I mean, it's something that I hope we can make sustainable. It's a big ticket item. There's no doubt about it in terms of, the cost, and I think hopefully the community recognizes that there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of money that goes towards it, and that this is really a catalyst for economic development in Sycamoose, and I think it is. It just comes back to, I guess, what I was saying earlier in terms of us just making choices. I think this is a good choice, but it'd be just nice to have a bigger, larger discussion on what is kind of the economic opportunity in front of Sycamoose and what we need the money for. But this is certainly one that has, developed an incredible amount of support, and I support it. I've given money to it. I know everybody around here has, so I really look forward to seeing another great year ahead.
Okay, thanks, Ian. Malcolm, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you through the chair. Just a statement more than anything. Down here in Mexico, sitting at the local restaurants and on the beach, I've had more than one person overhear discussions about our ferry in Sycamoose. People from Vernon, people from Salmon Arm and the Okanagan, and they're talking about, I tell them I'm from Sycamoose, and the first thing they say, oh yeah, that's got the ferry that goes to the rail trail. So it's I think it's a really good economic booster, and I support 100% of us. I just wanted to share some anecdotal stuff from across BC that, yeah, it's getting quite well known.
Thank you, Malcolm. Okay, Colleen, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yes, and Rona is totally in favor of using this money for the Berry Society as well. So it is a great cause, and we know the economic impact this is going to have on our community all the way to Mexico. So yeah, I'm in favor of this, and let's get it locked in there tonight so that they can plan for having this 50 grand in their budget for 2026. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Colleen. Anybody else? No, I just have one question, Bianca. They did request 7,500 in our first finance meeting. Is that,
In a way.
that's going away? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Just curious. I support it 100%. I mean, it's great for the community and great for the area. So it'll go a long ways this summer for sure. Okay, so all those in favor? Carrie? Oh, thank you, Siobhan. Didn't see your hand there. Okay, moving right along. Number 9, CA report. That we don't have to worry about that tonight. And resolutions. Item A, appointment of EO as accountants for the District of Sycamoose Development Corporation. Bianca.
Yeah, so this is a fun one. This is just a housekeeping one. So we end up getting, this is one where our auditors found it while reviewing the minutes, and I have to applaud the auditors. We had this same resolution, the one they're correcting multiple times, but this year they caught it. So we're correcting it. Going forward, we'll get it correct. So that the Development Corporation, BDO prepares notice to reader financial statements. It's a lot more cost effective. And then those financials are brought into our audited financial statements, but their financial statements alone are notice to reader. Therefore, they have to be appointed as the public accountants for the Dev Corp, not the auditors of the Dev Corp. BDO audits the district, not the Development Corporation, even though they're owned by. So this is just a little cleanup.
Okay, thanks, Bianca. Any questions? Okay, well, I'll read the recommendation, sorry. Recommendation that the District of Sycamoose, as sole shareholder of the District of Sycamoose Development Corporation, the company, hereby appoint BDO Canada LLP as the public accountant of the company until next annual reference date of the company, or until a successor is appointed at the remuneration to be fixed by the directors, and that the appointment of the auditor be waived under section 203 2 of the Business Corporation Act. Can I have a mover? Bob, seconder, Pam? Discussion? I don't see anybody. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, number 11, correspondence. We have a correspondence package there. Anybody want to discuss anything in the correspondence? Go ahead there, Ian.
Well, there's several municipalities, and I certainly agree with their opposition towards this I guess it's a private members bill, M216, the Professional Reliance Act, which I think is, we often talk about provincial downloading. Here's another unnecessary thing for the province to do to municipalities that would make our lives more difficult, give us less options, and probably likely make it more expensive and lengthy to actually do the planning functions that we do need to do. So, I mean, I would be very much in favor of this council supporting the opposition as well and sending a letter to, I guess, to the government that we oppose this bill as well.
Thanks, Ian. I think I'll let Shauna speak on that. You were on holidays.
Okay.
Sorry.
My apologies.
Okay, through the chair, thank you. So yes, at a previous council meeting, resolution was put forth to council for staff to provide a letter to the province. And we just included the other municipalities and their letters to show that they also are of the same mind of what the District of Sycamoose, and everybody is putting forth their thoughts to the province.
I'm ecstatic to know I'm behind the curve, like you guys are ahead of it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Shauna. Thanks, Ian. Anybody else? Bob, go ahead.
I was just gonna highlight the letter from Nikki Sharma, our Attorney General, And how she's mentioning in the letter to us that they're addressing repeat violent offenders and the bills that are going to help improve public safety and accountability. And this highlights why it's important for us to go to these UBCM conferences, because we were in her office telling her that we're really worried about the bail system and how the catch and release. And so it was good to get a letter saying that they're working on it so that they can keep dangerous people
Yeah,
where they need to be.
great. Thanks, Bob. Okay, and yeah, and we can also comment about Josie Osborne, the Minister of Health, also wrote a letter to us thanking us for at UBCM meeting that we had. So that shows you that, you know, we keep pounding away and sometimes we get some grants, sometimes we don't, right? Okay, I guess nobody else has any comments on correspondence. We'll move along. Okay, number 12, Committee of the Regional District reports. Internal committees for information, nil. External committees for information, we have the Malacqua Sycamoose Interagency meeting. Anybody want to comment on that? No, okay. Sycamoose Watershed Council meeting minutes. Anybody want to speak about that? Okay.
It was a great meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Questions. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Pam. Okay, we had nothing from the regional district at this time with Christmas holidays. That's great. Public input. Do we have anybody online? Somebody online? Gallery's just packed full of June. Okay, that's great. Well, thank you very much. Well, I'd like to make a recommendation that the regular council meeting of January 14th, 2026 be adjourned at 6 o'clock. Motion by Councilor McCabe and Mayor Anderson. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.
Hey, good night, everybody.
Good night.